The ultimate Call of Duty Iceberg explained? Let's go. The Nuke, COD 4. This is talking about a mission in Call of Duty 4 called Shock and Awe. And even though Call of Duty 4 is incredibly old, a lot of people still have very vivid memories of this mission, mainly because of just how brutal it was. It showed you the reality of what a modern war would look like, and it really didn't hold back. The mission follows you, Sergeant Paul Jackson, and the rest of Lieutenant Vasquez's squad as you join in on an attack against Al-Assad's position. And after your normal Call of Duty mission, you blow stuff up, you shoot some people. You eventually come to learn that SEAL Team 6 has discovered a nuclear threat inside the city, and everyone must evacuate immediately. And as you are pulling out, you end up helping save a downed pilot. And as you're on the helicopter flying away, you think that you did it. You saved everybody, you're a hero, everyone's gonna make it out. And that's when this happens.
We have a confirmed nuke. Everyone hang on!
And to quote Shepard in Modern Warfare 2, I lost 30,000 men in the blink of an eye. And what makes this scene really stick with a lot of people is in the COD 4 remastered version, they added a little bit more to it that really showed you the suffering that people would go through if they were in this situation. Funny Girls. This is talking about my collaboration with Buildables to bring my channel's mascot to life and her very own Buildables figure. With over 290 pieces standing at 6 inches tall, you're gonna love it. If you're one of those people that just 1 likes Bunny Girls and 2 likes to listen to like a podcast or some music while you play with stuff, this is something you're gonna wanna have. With this, you will also get a full color instruction booklet and a collectible Crazy Rabbit Buildables trading card that will probably be worth millions someday. And you can also bundle all of that with a custom Buildables display case for a discount and free US shipping. So if you want to help support the channel or you just like collectible figurines, and I mean, who doesn't like Bunny Girls, let's be honest, make sure to check out that link down below in the description. Pre-orders are out now, but it's only going to be available for a limited time, so once you miss out, it's gone. So if you are somewhat interested, at least go check it out. And if you want to help support the channel, make sure to hit that pre-order. Back to the video. The COD Killer. This is a phrase that has been around for as long as I can remember. For as long as Call of Duty has been on top of the FPS genre, this phrase has been given out to almost any game that dares to try to approach it. For instance, if we go all the way back to the beginning of Call of Duty, there has been so many games that have been given the designation COD Killer that never lived up to it. For example, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Homefront, Brink, Medal of Honor, Crysis 2, Titanfall 2, and pretty much almost every single Battlefield series to this date. And even to this day in 2025, you will still find people saying that this game is going to be the COD Killer. One of the more recent games that has been called the COD Killer was X-Defiant, which everyone was hyping up and claiming to be the ultimate COD Killer. But it ended up not doing that and eventually shut down. So it's only a matter of time until another game pops up, gets a bunch of hyped, is called the COD Killer, and then is eventually just dwarfed by Call of Duty, like Call of Duty does every year. MLG. MLG, or Major League Gaming, was a professional esports organization that was founded in 2002 and had its run all the way up until January of 2024. Now nowadays, you might think of MLG and mainly just think of some of the older memes that were pretty popular around 2015. But at one point in time, MLG was actually a pretty reputable video games tournament holder. And a lot of people might associate them with Call of Duty, but they actually were involved in a lot of different games. such as StarCraft, League of Legends, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, King of Fighters, and even Super Smash Bros. Melee. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg. There are tons of other games that MLG also hosted for. And they even had a Call of Duty Pro League that ran from 2014 to 2015 for Call of Duty Ghost and Advanced Warfare. And in my opinion, that was probably the height of MLG, because after that point, you really didn't hear too much about it, and everything really started to just go downhill. And nowadays, when people think of MLG, I know I don't really think of gaming tournaments. I just think of those really weird montages with Mountain Dew and Doritos and just lots of flashing lights.
Fuck it right in the pussy. Wow.
1v1 me Rust. For this, we are heading back to Modern Warfare 2, back when you could say literally anything on the internet and nothing bad would happen. Before everyone would record everything you say, before chat filters and everything now that we have with modern gaming, you had Modern Warfare 2 and the ability to call people whatever you want. And this phrase originated from said game. In Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, if you were to get into some verbal altercation with another person, you ultimately would end up 1v1ing on Rust, which is a one player versus one player on the map Rust, which is insanely small, which made it absolutely perfect for 1v1s. And this phrase became so popular that even to this day, you can still hear people using it. But back in Modern Warfare 2 times, if you had any disagreement or were in a fight with literally anyone, the go-to was 1v1ing on Rust. That was gonna settle it. Who was right, who was wrong, that didn't matter. All that matters was who could beat who on Rust. But you have to do quick scopes only, and the final kill has to be a 360. 3-lane map design. This is something that you can find in almost every single Call of Duty multiplayer map. The essential basis for each map falls into 3 lanes, and this also applies to a lot of other PvP games. So no, this is not just a Call of Duty thing. But if you look at a lot of multiplayer maps, they are essentially 3 lanes to get to the other side. Of course, you have some intersecting points, but essentially there are 3 routes you can take. And this is really done to make the map engaging and kind of funneling you to where you need to go. So instead of dicking around somewhere, getting completely lost and never seeing an enemy, with this kind of map design, you're guaranteed to engage someone and know where to go. So now I got a question for you guys in the comments. What would your guys' favorite 3-lane map design be? For me, I'm a sucker. I loved Black Ops 1 WMD. I thought it was really good. One of my favorite maps. COD development cycle. This, I believe, is talking about the old COD development cycle that we had for a number of years, where every year you would get a new Call of Duty game, but who was making it was completely different. Well, not completely different. Back in the day, you only had 2 people, Infinity Ward and Treyarch. So you would have COD 4, then you had World at War, then you had Modern Warfare 2, then you had Black Ops 1, then you had Modern Warfare 3, then you had Black Ops 3, and so on and so forth. And that went on for a long time. And then eventually they started adding new people like Sledgehammer, and then it went to a 3-year cycle, and it kind of got a little bit out of hand there for a while. And in modern day Call of Duty, it just seems like whoever they think they can make the most money with is going to be making that game. I don't really think they have much of a cycle nowadays. I think it's just pump whatever you can out every single year to get people to play Warzone so you can sell them more and more useless skins. But for a while there, you were getting a new Call of Duty each year that honestly did feel new and different from the previous year's Call of Duty. Raygun in campaign. This one's taking us all the way back to World of War and the mission Little Resistance. In that mission, you are storming Peleliu's beach, but unfortunately it does not go that well for you when your landing craft gets stuck on the coral and you get bombarded by the Japanese. But after calling in an artillery strike and making your way to the beach, you can unlock the ray gun from Call of Duty Zombies. By entering each one of these puddles and then standing in the last puddle for about 10 seconds, the ground will start to shake and you will hear some random gibberish, which, fun fact, is just a reversed quote from a Japanese soldier. And after all that happens, a statue will rise from the ground and you will be able to take the ray gun and use it for the rest of the mission. And a little fun fact about this, the level designer Jesse Snyder was almost fired for putting this Easter egg in the game, which just goes to show you, Activision or whoever almost fired him has no idea what they're doing, because this is one of the most iconic Easter eggs, in my opinion, in Call of Duty history. Call of Duty vs. Battlefield. For as long as Call of Duty and Battlefield have been around, their rivalry has also been around. From their early days when everything was about World War II, to their early 2010 days when everything became more modern focused, and even till today, I still hear people saying, is Battlefield 6 gonna kill COD? No matter what year it is, people have been comparing these two games, even though they're completely different. On the surface, they might seem very similar, but when it comes down to it, they play entirely different. Call of Duty is a fast-paced mode, focused more on the individual, while Battlefield is more of a team-based game, strictly just speaking about the multiplayer. But I would say this rivalry really heated up in the early 2010s. I mean, this rivalry was so big and so heated that people were constantly talking or making jokes about it. I mean, there was some real hatred between Call of Duty and Battlefield fans. You even had Jack Frags make a Battlefield versus Call of Duty rap battle.
What up, Doc? It's COD, dude. About to bat a battlefield back to 1942 till the entire world plays me when it's game time.
This one, my gamer's biggest selling point is fish AI. You're the least innovative of the gaming franchises. Same game every year. What are your fanboys got Alzheimer's?
And even one of my favorite YouTube channels, Neebs Gaming, when they were making Battlefield friends back in the day, liked to throw in slight jabs at Call of Duty. All in good fun, of course.
And you know what? We all play this because we love Battlefield. Am I right?
Yeah.
I guess you
you're
make
right.
a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I make a good point. It's not like we're playing some Call of Duty or some shit.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started.
Oh, that's a riot. That's a hoot.
Fuck those cocksuckers.
One Man Army, Noob Tube. This was the bane of everyone's existence back in Modern Warfare 2. This was a perk in multiplayer that allowed you to switch classes without having to respawn. How it worked was like this. Once you activate the perk, there is a 5-second waiting period where you can really only move and crouch, as you are switching from your primary weapon to your backpack, which will then bring up the class menu and you can select your new class. And there was a pro variant that was unlocked after receiving 120 kills. And all that did was take the time from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So it just made it a little bit quicker. Now, from the developer's perspective, it seems like they wanted this to be used more tactically. Like you could switch to a class that has cold-blooded on if the enemy has air support, or switch to hardline if you're close to a kill streak, or really anything like that. That's how they wanted it to be used, but that is not how the community used it whatsoever. The most common use of this was to resupply your grenade launchers for your gun, aka noob tubes, which gets its name because anybody that joins in on Call of Duty can easily get a kill with a grenade launcher. And the fact that you could just one-man army resupply your grenade launchers as many times as you want, to the point where you could just be launching them for days, was infuriating and one of the most overpowered things in Modern Warfare 2's history. And even to this day, if you ask a lot of people their opinions about Modern Warfare 2, this is going to be one of the things that's bound to come up when they talk about their dislikes or the reason they hated the game. If you never got to play Modern Warfare 2 in its heyday, I'm talking about the OG, you can thank your lucky stars that you never got noob tubed, spawned in, and then immediately proceeded to get noob tubed 12 more times. Wager matches. Wager matches was introduced with Black Ops 1 and was a game category where players could bet if they were going to win. In Black Ops 1, you received COD points, and that was how you basically unlocked everything. You would purchase them with COD points that you earned from the game. And with wager matches, you could bet those COD points on a variety of game modes, such as Gun Game, where if you kill a player, you move up a weapon tier, Sticks and Stones, where everybody has a crossbow, ballistic knife, and a tomahawk, One in the Chamber, where you only have one bullet in your M1911 and a knife, and Sharpshooter, where every player will receive the same random weapon, and after 45 seconds, the weapons will be cycled. And honestly, wager matches was really fun. The whole betting thing just kind of became useless because you could earn enough COD points just regularly playing the game, so nobody really cared about the whole betting aspect, but the game modes that it did introduce were very fun. And even to this day, I still think these are some of the most fun game modes that we've ever seen in Call of Duty's history. I mean, come on. How many times have you been playing like Sticks and Stones and you tomahawk someone that was in first place, resetting them back to 0, and then hearing them cuss and yell at you for about 10 minutes? It's a classic. Infinite Warfare's YouTube trailer. When the trailer for Infinite Warfare dropped, at one point in time, it was the most disliked thing in YouTube's history. Now I think that record has been surpassed many times, but for a while there, this trailer was the most disliked video on the whole site. They might be wondering, why were people so upset with this? And the big reason is that people were just fed up with the setting. For about 4 to 5 years, every single Call of Duty was either taking place in the modern or a futuristic sci-fi setting, and fans had had enough of it. And we're really hoping that after Black Ops 3 that it would be the end of it and we would go back to a different time period. But when the Infinite Warfare trailer released, fans saw that it was yet again another sci-fi game and were promptly very, very upset, thus creating one of the most disliked YouTube videos. Now, was the hate justified? Depends who you ask. If you were to ask me, I would say yeah, I bought the game and I didn't like it. Not a huge fan of sci-fi stuff. But if you ask a lot of other people, they would say this game was actually pretty good and it just came out at the wrong time, which is fair. If this game would have came out at a different time, it might have been loved, but people were just fed up with the whole sci-fi thing at that point that they really couldn't get over it. And if you go to this video now and you look at some of the comments, you can see exactly what I'm describing. A lot of people saying that the game deserved it, and also a lot of people saying that perhaps they treated it too harshly. Moab. The Moab is the hidden 25 kill streak in Modern Warfare 3, very similar to the tactical nuke from Modern Warfare 2. If you're playing multiplayer and you're able to get 25 kills in a row, or 24 with hardline, without dying, you would unlock the Moab or the tactical nuke, and this would essentially kill everybody and end the game with your team winning, if you are playing Modern Warfare 2. And if you ever played Modern Warfare 2 or 3 during its heyday, and you happen to do a free-for-all and you were able to get your buddy inside of the free-for-all game, it would sometimes be a rush to see who would camp with their friend and get 25 kills first to end the game. And I'm talking about this from experience because me and my buddy would do this all the time, and we would also run into other people doing the same thing. Good times, man. Good times. Michael Myers. This was a community-created game mode that was very popular in the earlier days of COD, specifically around COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. It could be played on a variety of games, but it was mainly popularized in Modern Warfare 2, or at least in my experience. And since it was a community-created game mode, there were like no set rules, but it basically went like this. One player would be designated Michael Myers, and the only weapons that they could use was their regular knife and a throwing knife. And the reason me and my friends would always allow that is because some people like to get in glitch spots, aka me, and sometimes Michael Myers would never be able to get there, so it only made things fair. But once Michael Myers spawns in, he has to stay still or face a wall for like 30 seconds, and everybody else in the game has to go run and hide. And the objective is for Michael Myers to kill everybody. But when it's down to the last player, once he has killed everyone and it's down to a 1v1, the other player can fight back, and it boils down to a 1v1 knives only, except for Michael Myers does still have the throwing knife. And looking back on Modern Warfare 2, I had so much fun playing Michael Myers with all my friends on Quarry that it kind of comes to that old saying that I wish I knew I was in the golden times when I was in them. David Vonderhaar. David Vonderhaar was the former studio design director that worked at Treyarch, and has been with Call of Duty ever since Call of Duty 2, a Big Red One. And his name really started to gain more and more prominence during the Black Ops 2 days, and he really just became a giant meme. People would blame him for literally anything, even if he had nothing to do with it at all.
Luigi, die!
The fuck?
Anyone lagging? Yeah, my game's frozen.
I think there's a fucking host migration.
Vandahar,
Damn it.
Tina,
Palacios!
Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates.
And memes aside, because he was kind of the figurehead at Treyarch, he also did get a lot of genuine hate, and he would continue working with Treyarch all the way up until August 18th of 2023. Model 1887 Akimbo. This is one of the most overpowered things in the entirety of Call of Duty's history, and totally shockingly, it comes from Modern Warfare 2 again. Modern Warfare 2 just had a ton of increasingly overpowered things during its lifespan. but none were more popular and more deadly than the 1887 Akimbos. What made these shotguns so OP was that they were essentially a one-shot, one-kill from almost any range. They were supposed to be used as shotguns, so up close and personal, right? Well, pre-patch, that was not exactly what they did. Imagine shooting a sniper rifle, but instead of 1 bullet, you get like 8. And now, because it's akimbo, you have even more. And people would basically snipe others from across the map with a dual-wield shotgun. And you don't even have to aim since it's akimbo. You just point, shoot, and you were probably going to get a kill. You can still find plenty of montages pre-patch of the 1887 and its ridiculous range to this day, so you can kind of understand why these things were definitely patched. But even after patch, they're still pretty good. XX_name_XX. This was a really dumb way that people used to write out their gamer tag like 15 years ago. You don't see it too much nowadays, mainly because your single gamer tag or your name isn't as important as like the numbers that come with it. But back when your Xbox gamer tag or your PSN was the be-all end-all, you would see tons of names like this, and not just in Call of Duty. Because again, it was your Xbox gamer tag or your PSN, so it went with you across all games. But the reason people did this were for a couple reasons. One, cringy 13-year-olds thought it looked cool, and thank God I definitely did not think it looked cool because you'd be seeing me as XX_crazyrabbit_XX. And the other reason that people would do it is because the name that they wanted was taken. So to keep their name and to keep it actually somewhat looking decent, I guess, without adding a bunch of random numbers at the end, they would do the XX_ thing so that way they could get their name. And the final reason that people did it was because back around this time period in actual history, the whole straight edge movement was becoming more popular, even if everyone thought it was lame. Now, straight edge, I don't think it's still a thing nowadays, but when I was in school, being straight edge meant that you weren't going to do drugs, drink alcohol, or sleep around, essentially telling everybody that you're just one giant loser. And apparently a way to identify that you were straight edge was doing the whole XX_ thing for some reason. I don't know how those things ever meshed together, but they did. So using the whole XX thing was a way to tell everybody that you're straight edge and that you don't actually go out and have fun. Because as we all know, the coolest kids in high school did meth and drank alcohol on the weekends outside of your high school. We all know that to be true. But thankfully, with more modern gaming, the whole XX cringe sniper lord _XX thing has kind of gotten thrown out the window. And you can almost pretty much have whatever name you want nowadays, without having to do the whole XX thing. Thank God. Museum Modern Warfare 2. This is one of the coolest things that Call of Duty ever introduced, and we never ever saw it again. I have no idea why. But once you complete the campaign, you can unlock the museum, where you will have 3 separate rooms that show you various scenes of different missions throughout the entire campaign. And they're not just like static pictures or anything, they actually move and interact with stuff. But what makes this really cool is that there's this shiny big red button that says do not press, and because of monkey brain, you want to press it. And upon pressing it, everyone comes to life and is immediately hostile, and you have to fight your way out of it. It's a really cool way to end a campaign. Getting to see every single scene that you went through and fighting everyone from those scenes is just a really awesome way to end a game. And I don't understand why they never brought this back. Seeing every single gun and almost every single character that you fought and that you interacted with all trying to kill you is pretty badass. Easter egg songs in the Black Ops 3 menu. This is actually a feature of Black Ops 3. If you pull up the menu and you go over to options, you can see music tracks down here on the right. And in this, you can go through almost every single Call of Duty song, which includes a lot of Zombies Easter egg songs. And you can basically pick and choose what music you want to hear in the menu. Now, of course, you can't hear the actual music when you're in the game, but it's still pretty nice that if you're just chilling in the menu or something, you can make your own soundtrack and just listen to whatever songs you actually want. Burger Town. Burger Town is a fast food chain that appears in multiple Call of Duties, from Modern Warfare 2 to 3, Advanced Warfare, Modern Warfare, Warzone, Black Ops Cold War, Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Warzone Mobile. It's safe to say that it's been around for a while. And for a long time, it was a giant meme. And it totally had nothing to do with the whole Ramirez, save the entire war by yourself.
Hunter 2-1, this is Overlord Actual. We're seeing a large group of enemy reinforcements to your north. Over. Ramirez, use the remote-controlled Predator missiles. We got incoming infantry. Keep them away from Burgertown.
Burgertown even got so popular and so loved, it even made an appearance in Exo Zombies in the map Infection. And it was brought back again in Black Ops Cold War for the Zombies map Forsaken. Now everybody might know about Burgertown, but do they know what exactly it is? The Burgertown that we all know and love that you can see in campaign was actually inspired by a real place called Burgerville that was located in Vancouver, Washington. And the Burgertown logo is very obviously inspired by the Burger King logo. And interestingly enough, to celebrate the launch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, a Burger King in LA was even redecorated as a Burgertown. And I think more Burger Kings should have definitely done that because I totally would have went to one. Death quotes. Death quotes are exactly what it sounds like. They are quotes you get if you happen to die in the single player campaign. And there's a lot of them. Like you have everything from Abraham Lincoln saying, "There's no honorable way to kill, no gentle way to destroy. There is nothing good in war except its ending." To even some Joseph Stalin quotes, "Death solves all problems, no man, no problem." And it's not just political figures. There is a quote from John Wayne saying, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway." And we could sit here all day just reading every single quote, but trust me when I say there's a lot. I found this one quote when I was just looking through. I found this one quote from a U.S. Army training notice, and it said, "When the pin is pulled, Mr. Grenade is not our friend." And I don't know why. Just through all these other serious quotes, that one kind of made me chuckle. Your fruit killing skills are remarkable. This is one of those things that became a meme and you have like no idea why. But this quote from COD 4 has done just that. It has become a meme in a very niche section of the Call of Duty community. And it all stems back from one scene in COD 4.
Remember, switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading. Using your knife is even faster than switching to your pistol. Knife the watermelon. Nice! Your fruit killing skills are remarkable. Captain Price wants to see you.
Real quick before we continue on with the video, I do have to shout out my Patreons because they're freaking awesome. We got Brian Hahn, Fat Lucky Potato, Icy Storm, Mayall, G-Die Smackdown, Forg, Ty Mulan, One Up Gamer, and Scora. Patreons not only get videos early, they also get access to my Little Tykes truck. So if you'd like to be a Patreon supporter, link is right down there below in the description. Back to the video. Thundergun in campaign. Very similar to the World at War ray gun Easter egg, you can get a Call of Duty Zombies wonder weapon in the Black Ops 1 campaign, and it just so happens to be the Thundergun. During the mission numbers towards the beginning where a bunch of Nova 6 canisters are, you can pick up a tape, and not too far away from there, there's going to be a weapons cache that happens to have a tape player in it. And if you insert this tape into the tape player, very similar to the World at War version, just wait a couple seconds and then your screen will start shaking. And before you know it, the Thundergun will be right there in front of you for you to pick up. And similar to the World at War counterpart, you can use it until you're pretty much done with it. And like I said with the World at War 1, little Easter eggs like these are just the best. COD World War II censorship. This is something that a lot of modern games are doing nowadays. If they can censor the swastikas or any Nazi imagery, they're going to. And Call of Duty World War II is no exception. Hell, Call of Duty in general, well, modern CODs, are no exception. In Call of Duty World War II, in the campaign, they decide to leave all the Nazi imagery in there. But when it comes to multiplayer and zombies, they themselves even said that they wanted to take it out. And the main reason that they said this was very, very weird. They said they wanted to be authentic, but also be respectful to the people who lost their lives, which makes no sense at all because this is a Call of Duty game.
Wrestling with Nazi iconography has been something that we've really spent a lot of time on. You know, we wanted to be authentic, yet we also wanted to respect the people who lost their lives in this horrific event. So for us, that has always been the balance, trying to be respectful, and as a piece of entertainment, wanting to deliver on the authenticity. So you will see some Nazi iconography, including the swastika, in the campaign. But for our global audience, our multiplayer and zombies audience, we really want to play together and being mindful of local customs and regulations, those symbols will really only be in the campaign.
I don't see why it's so hard for companies to just tell the truth. They just want to maximize profits. If they can take out as many Nazi signs as they can, then they're probably going to, because that's going to make them more money. Don't give us this BS about respecting history. Just be honest and say, yeah, we're trying to make a video game to make a profit. I would respect that a lot more than pretending to care about history. Caratan, Band of Brothers Easter egg. For the Call of Duty World War II map Caratan, the trailer for it is heavily inspired by an HBO miniseries called Band of Brothers, which is one of my favorite miniseries of all time. Like, that and the Pacific are goated. If you haven't seen either and you're a history buff, then you really aren't a history buff, because those miniseries are some of the best that I've ever seen. But like I was saying, some parts of this trailer seem to take direct inspiration from the Band of Brothers miniseries all about Caratan. Now, I can't show you like side-by-sides because, you know, YouTube and striking me down, but I will do the best that I can. But if you want to see the full things, I highly recommend just Googling the trailers and Band of Brothers Caratan and just watch them back to back. You will notice a lot of similarities. Respawn Entertainment. Respawn Entertainment is a video game development studio that was founded in 2010 by Jason West and Vince Impella, and since 2017 is currently owned by everyone's favorite EA. But who exactly are these two jabronis? Well, Jason West and Vince Impella were head leads at Infinity Ward, who were behind some of the best games of all time, COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. And the story goes like this. After the release of COD 4, with all the success that it did bring, West and Impella renegotiated their contracts with Activision in 2008, asking for larger bonuses and creating control of the next series, which was Modern Warfare 2. Activision agreed to this on one condition, that the control would revert to Activision if the pair were fired. And allegedly, from that point on, Activision would seek out ways to trigger that clause, all while West and Impella looked for more ways to make Infinity Ward more independent. And things would eventually come to a head in March of 2010, when the two were fired from Activision, therefore forfeiting their bonuses. And after that, a lot of lawsuits would go back and forth. West and Impella accused Activision of unpaid bonuses, while Activision countersued that the two had been conspiring with EA. And this all led to just both suits ultimately being settled out of court. And after their firing, these two would go on to form a new independent studio, Respawn Entertainment. And it wasn't just West and Impella that went to Respawn Entertainment. 38 out of the 46 Infinity Ward employees all resigned following their firing. And not too long after starting Respawn Entertainment, they would go on to create Titanfall, which, if you remember from earlier in the video, was praised as being the COD killer. And a couple years later, they would have Titanfall 2, Titanfall Assault, Apex Legends, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and a couple more Star Wars games currently in the works. And I remember when these two got fired and when it started Respawn Entertainment, it was such a big deal, especially around the Modern Warfare 3 era. Everyone thought Modern Warfare 3 would flop because majority of the people that made the previous games were gone. And everyone was hailing Titanfall as being the ultimate COD killer since it came from some of the OGs. Call of Duty's obsession with blowing up trains. This is something you'll actually see in a lot of icebergs, especially about video games. That insert game has an obsession with trains. Well, that might sound true when you look at it, because trains are all over Call of Duty, and especially ones that you may or may not have to blow up. Like in the original Call of Duty United Offensive, you have to blow up a train with explosives. Call of Duty 2, Big Red One, blowing up a train. A lot of other games from that point had trains in them, and a pretty pivotal part of some missions, but you weren't really blowing them up. Modern Warfare 3 had one to rail. Black Ops 2 had a couple trains, most notably in the multiplayer map, the one that would kill me like all the time. And of course Warzone would have the occasional train here and there. So they're not like obsessed with blowing up trains, but I think the reason Call of Duty might be obsessed with trains and every other video game is because just blowing up a train is just freaking cool. Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. There have been many celebrity appearances in Call of Duty, but some of the more OG ones are Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. Snoop Dogg was actually a character in Black Ops 1. He played Joseph Bowman, who, if you don't remember, met this end.
You don't scare me. Communist piece of shit.
Bowman! Bowman!
You fucking son of a bitch! Next!
And he was not only just Joseph Bowman, he was also the announcer for multiplayer. I mean, there's nothing more badass than Ice Cube narrating what kill streaks you just got.
Dogs waiting on your go. Counter spy plane up. They're blind. Enemy death machine spotted. Take cover. Free fall. Accomplish the mission at any cost. Stay focused. Stay alive.
And to follow in Ice Cube's footsteps, in Call of Duty Ghost, instead of Ice Cube, we had Snoop Dogg. But, and that's a pretty big but there, to get Snoop Dogg, it did cost you $2.99. It was not free like Ice Cube in Black Ops 1.
Squad member active. A brother from another mother. Homies out the joint. It's party time.
And Snoop Dogg would also return in Vanguard and Warzone. But I mean, at this point, what skin hasn't been in Warzone? Press F to pay respects. This is an internet meme that originated from Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and it went to show you just how out of touch the creators were with the fan base. The scene has you set up to attend a funeral, and it's supposed to be a heartwarming, sad moment. But instead of that, you have to press F to pay respects. And that is just one of the stupidest and funniest things that you've probably ever done in Call of Duty. And of course, with how just outrageous this was, the internet naturally did what the internet does. And according to an Advanced Warfare level designer, this was actually a last-minute change. The original segment had the player hammer a pin into the coffin, as per Navy SEAL funeral rites. But the creative team had to change the scene after a military advisor objected to using a Navy SEAL tradition, mainly because the character in question was a US Marine. And the scene we ended up getting, press F to pay respects, just happened because the game was in its final stages and they needed to put something in there. Colored clan tags, World at War. This one might strike a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people, but back in World at War you could have a variety of clan tags that actually did a variety of things. Nowadays a lot of people just assumed it was all hackers, but the truth behind it is these were actually intended to be in the game before Treyarch said no more. And a lot of people mainly just remember the rainbow colored one, but you could also do a lot of other things. You could create a moving ball, of course you had the rainbow colored one. You could create a moving plus sign. You could make your own name move. You could have a red line move across your name. You could have your entire name cycle throughout the colors. Or if you bought the limited edition copy of Call of Duty World at War, you could have it be gold. And you could also do a variety of different colors other than gold. You could do green, cyan, blue, and red. And these were in the game for a little bit until Treyarch took them out. And then hackers brought them back. And that's how you knew you were in a hacked lobby. The second someone joined with a colored name, you knew you were in for some fun. World at War zombie maps are based off multiplayer maps. In case you didn't know, this was very common with a lot of old school zombie maps. They would essentially be repurposed multiplayer maps or sections from campaign. For example, if we take a look at Nocturne Toten, you can find Nocturne Toten almost a 1-for-1 scale in the multiplayer map Airfield. The building that you can find in Airfield is basically Nocturne Toten. Of course, you do have your changes here and there, but just walking through the multiplayer map, you can definitely get a feel for the original zombie map. When it comes to the zombie map Verrucht, that one is going to be the multiplayer map Asylum. And it's very weird when you play Asylum and you go into areas that you can't go in zombies, it still feels like you shouldn't be there for some reason. And you gotta give it to the zombie map. They definitely managed to turn Asylum, even though Asylum is, an insane asylum, they managed to turn that multiplayer map into a very, very creepy zombie map. Now when it comes to Shinonuma is actually kind of more of an original one. It seems to be based off of 2 multiplayer maps. It takes a lot of assets from Macon and Knee Deep. So I wouldn't say Shinonuma is as close to these 2 maps as Nocturne Toten and Verrucht, but it does take a lot of inspiration from those 2. And when it comes to Der Riese, that is the multiplayer map Nightfire. And I like playing Nightfire because you can go into a lot of areas that Der Riese doesn't have or Der Riese has sealed off from you. And you can kind of picture in your mind what Der Riese would have looked like if you could go into that area. So if you ever get an itch to go back and play some World at War multiplayer map, make sure to check out some of these. You'll get an eerily familiar sense that a zombie should run at you from some direction. I'm a pussy, I use riot shields. This is talking about a video that was uploaded many, many years ago that is all about a classic Modern Warfare 2 lobby argument. In this video, it seems some fine, upstanding gentlemen were in a verbal disagreement about the use of riot shields. Now I'm going to let you listen to a decent amount of it, but do remember, this is YouTube. I have to bleep out a lot of words. If you want to listen to the full thing, literally just search I'm a pussy, I use riot shields, Modern Warfare 2, and you can watch the full uncensored thing. I'm sorry, YouTube, they know likey.
Why don't you guys learn how to actually play the game and talk? Shoot a gun, dog. Learn how to shoot a gun. You fucking riot shield. What else do you want me to do? Riot shield. I'm a pussy that use riot shield. Oh, now I'm a pussy. What do you want me to use? You tell me what you want me to use. Tell me what to fucking use, huh? Tell me what to fucking use, huh? Tell me what to fucking use. Pussy. Pussy. That's right. Yum, 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 yum. I eat dick all day. Yum, 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 yum.
IW4X Plutonium. If you do not play Call of Duty on PC, these probably mean nothing to you. But if you are an avid Call of Duty player, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. IW4X and Plutonium are alternate ways to play the game. Because if you try to play Call of Duty multiplayer for almost every single one on Steam, you are just opening yourself up to get attacked by a hacker. Whether them infecting you with malware, exposing your IP address, or really almost anything, because Activision hasn't kept up to date with those old school CODs, so they are extremely vulnerable to exploits, making playing multiplayer on those old games really just gambling at that point. So IW4X and Plutonium aim to solve those issues. They allow you to play the old school games, but safely online. The only downside that I've really come across is, because of all these exploits and you having to use Plutonium and IW4X, there's just simply not as many people playing these older Call of Duties, which makes trying to load up in a multiplayer map sometimes very tedious. Call of Duty Online. Call of Duty Online was a free online first-person shooter developed by Raven Shanghai and Activision Shanghai. Distributed by Tencent Games, the beta version was originally launched in 2012, before officially launching in China in 2015. And it was technically the first free-to-play Call of Duty game. And Call of Duty Online would have plenty of different modes, plenty of different multiplayer modes that have been seen in previous games, cooperative survival mode, and probably one of the bigger modes, Cyborgs, which is Call of Duty Zombies, but instead of zombies, you have cyborgs. And the reason for that was because of Chinese censorship laws. Now, Call of Duty Online lasted all the way until August 31st of 2021, where Tencent announced that the game would finally be ending, and encouraged players to transition to Call of Duty Mobile, which launched in China in December of 2020. Now, as of today, Call of Duty Online is no longer operational, but of course, something like this is never truly going to go away. Fans have led a bunch of efforts to preserve the game, so even though it's no longer officially supported, the fans are still out there playing it. World at War Saving Private Ryan Easter egg. In the very first mission of World at War, there is a Saving Private Ryan Easter egg, and there is also an achievement to go with it. And you might know exactly what I'm talking about, but you never connected the dots. In the first mission, when you see a Marine get attacked by a Japanese soldier that is currently on fire, if you pay close enough attention, you'll notice that his name is Ryan. And if you can save Ryan before he burns to death, you will get the achievement Saved Private Ryan. So good job, you saved Private Ryan and allowed for that movie to be made. Surprise, Black Ops 2. I believe this is talking about the live action trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 2. That was surprisingly good, and it featured a lot of important people at the time, such as iJustine, FPS Russia, and even Robert Downey Jr. And I gotta admit, this trailer is actually really cool. Mainly just for the whole FPS Russia thing. I'm a huge FPS Russia PKA fan, so of course I'm gonna like it. Clown in Training. In the Modern Warfare 2 remaster, there's an Easter egg and an achievement called Clown in Training. In the very first mission, after you are done doing your job, you can walk all the way over here and pick up this sniper rifle. Now, to do this Easter egg, you have to have the sniper rifle, you can't use anything else. And if you stand right next to this guy with the binoculars and look out to where he's looking, you'll see a clown way off in the distance that you can shoot. And upon shooting him, he blows up in a nice colorful explosion. And to complete the achievement, all you have to do is find the other two clowns, and they're all in this general area. The next one's going to be over here on these hangars. If you get right next to the guy with the binoculars, you'll be able to see it, and you can shoot the clown again. The last one is going to be back here in the back. Again, get next to the guy with the binoculars, aim down with your sniper rifle and shoot, and you will get the achievement. And the entire time I was learning about this, I just couldn't help but think about that one Family Guy sketch.
You're all stupid. See, they're gonna be looking for army guys.
Zork, Black Ops 1. In the Black Ops 1 main menu, you can get out of your chair, and upon doing that and coming over here to this terminal, you can activate the text-based adventure game called Zork, which is based off a computer game of the same name from the 1970s, called, wouldn't you know it, Zork. In the real-life Zork, the player explores an abandoned great underground empire in search of treasure, and you move between the game's hundreds of locations and interact with objects by typing in commands. And the game will act as a narrator describing your location, and will give you the results of you inputting the commands. And the Zork in Black Ops 1 is essentially the same thing. And if you really don't know what like a text-based adventure game is, just think of it like this. The game describes where you are, and then you tell it, okay, I want to climb, and you'll attempt to climb up an object. Or you can type open, which opens an object, or turn on, which turns on an object. And it's not just for walking around. You can also fight in the game, ask people questions, and tons of other things. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there that show the full game, so if that interests you, then definitely go check that out. Machine Gun Teddy Bear. Introduced in Season 4 of Modern Warfare, we got the map Trench. And in that map, there is an Easter egg that is essentially what it sounds like, a teddy bear with machine guns. But to access that teddy bear, you're gonna have to open some bunker doors. And to open it, you're gonna need a code. And around this area, you can find tons of numbers that will give you the code. Find all 5 numbers and shoot them into the keypad. That will open the bunker door. Once you're inside, you're gonna look for a telephone. The telephone's gonna have 5 more numbers on it. Take those numbers, go back to the keypad, and shoot them in. Once you see access granted, head back inside and the phone will be ringing. And once you answer it, you're gonna see a teddy bear with some machine guns shooting at you. LOL Extinction. This is an Easter egg in Call of Duty Ghost in the Extinction game mode, where if you shoot the letters LOL, you will activate a very interesting little Easter egg, where upon dying, these things just release a bunch of teddy bears. Now it's not permanent, it only lasts for I think they said 2 minutes, but it still is an interesting little Easter egg, and it fits the whole LOL theme pretty accurately if you ask me. Golden Crossbow. For a while in Black Ops 1, it was possible to get a golden crossbow. I believe now this has been patched, but at one point in time you could do this. And no, it wasn't like an actual camo, you kinda had to do a little glitchy doodles. So in order to do this, you're gonna need 3 things. 1, a gun with the gold camo and the flamethrower attachment, 2, the crossbow, and 3, a Simtex. What you wanna do is pull out your crossbow, then immediately swap to your flamethrower attachment. Then you wanna toss a grenade at the ground. And after you do that, you want to switch to a different class without the crossbow on it. Then you're going to die. Once you respawn back in, you can go find a golden crossbow at your dead body. Why they never actually made it possible to get a gold crossbow, I don't know. But props to the community for finding the most roundabout way to do it. MW2 on Fox News. This one is a classic. Back when Modern Warfare 2 was the talk of the town, of course, once boomers heard about a very certain mission involving no Russians, of course, people got all up in arms about it, and it got so popular that it even made its way to Fox News.
You can join the enemy in a terrorist attack on an airport. And so, Jim, some people are saying, you know, and you brought up the good thing, at what age is it appropriate? You know, then again, is it ever appropriate to assimilate killing people?
Well, that is a good question, and you have to decide that for yourself. I mean, we live in a world of free speech, so you can create these games. I mean, the issue, though, for violent video games, including very well-made violent video games like Call of Duty, is there's no question that there's a correlation between video and game violence and screen violence and aggression in real life. The American Academy of Pediatrics just came out with a statement about that. So it really is a call on the basis of the user, and in the case of someone who's a parent of a teenager, which is this game's at, is it okay or not? The violence is the issue, and that's the call that you have to make, and you need to use common sense in terms of using games like this.
And John, I'll give you the final word.
You know, it's definitely, kids definitely can pick up the game if parents buy it for them. That's the big thing. I have a buddy that works at a local retail store. He's a manager there. Group of kids came in. They all said, "Hey, we're getting the, we're going to get the game." He asked them if they were under 17. No, he said no to them. I mean, retailers are doing a good job right now. It's been proven time and time
Sure,
again.
but nonetheless, guys, if you bring a game into a house, nothing to stop an 8-year-old kid from becoming a terrorist and shooting people.
That's right.
On a
Yeah,
video
but you're not
game.
a terrorist. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not a terrorist.
All right, John and
You're
Jim.
not really. It's pixelated violence.
It's violence.
It's not. It's not real. It's
All right.
not real. It's not real.
John and Jim, the debate goes on. Thank you very much for joining us.
Mom, get the camera. This is one of the most hilarious and legendary Modern Warfare 2 clips of all time, and is still referenced to this day. In this clip, you have a guy called C8 Swap hitting one of the coolest final kill cams, and in that, this happens.
Oh! Oh my god! Oh! Oh my fucking god! Oh! Oh! Get this fucking... Oh! No! Get the camera! Money! Money! Oh my god!
Now, not too much is really known about this clip or the guy behind it. And in fact, Wavy Web Surf has a really good 12-minute video on this. So if you'd like to know more about this meme, make sure to check out that video. COD World War II Saving Private Ryan Easter egg. You can't have a World War II game without them referencing some of the classics. And in this instance, COD World War II references a very specific scene in Saving Private Ryan.
Well, what I mean by that, sir, is you used to put me and this here sniper rifle anywhere up to and including 1 mile of Adolf Hitler with a clear line of sight, sir. Pack your bags, fellas, war's over. Amen.
And in COD World War II during the Akka mission, we can find a soldier saying that very same line.
Put me within a mile of Mr. Hitler. Party's over, Jeff.
Modern Warfare. This is a name that the community gave to Modern Warfare, and the reason for that was very simple. It had an insane amount of doors. It's like they finally figured out door technology and decided to throw an absurd amount in the game. And because of this, the name Modern Warfare was born. And it was kind of catchy, so it stuck. No idea what I'm doing. This is referencing a hidden challenge in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, in which you are required to get 100 kills using the Hailstorm pistol with akimbo, an optic, and the quick draw attachment. And the reason for the no idea what I'm doing name is because all these attachments don't go together at all. You can't ADS with akimbo, and quick draw allows you to aim down sights faster, which you can't do, so now you kind of understand why it's called no idea what I'm doing. And it seems like this is a continuation from another challenge that was also in COD Ghost called Clueless, in which you had to get 200 kills with the akimbo magnums with an ACOG on it. Eminem Easter egg. So this is going to be talking about two things, I think. One, of course, the Zombies Map 5, in which there is an Easter egg song on the map activated by hitting all 3 red telephones. And once activated, a musical Easter egg will start playing. And the song is Won't Back Down by Eminem. Of course, I cannot play that for you. And there is another Easter egg on Call of Duty Ghost. On the map Onslaught, you can actually come to this little cafe, and Eminem's song that he, I think, made for the game can be heard playing in the background. And of course, again, copyright, can't play it for you, so you'll just have to take my word. Ninja Defuse. Ninja defusing has been around Call of Duty for as long as I can remember, but it really started to become popular when funny moment videos on YouTube started to take off. And there were just so many compilations and funny moment videos that were bound to have a couple ninja defuses in it. But let's say you live under a rock and have no idea what ninja defusing is. If you are playing a search and destroy, one team has to plant the bomb and the other team has to either stop it or defuse it. And ninja defuse is kind of what it sounds like, when you defuse the bomb without the enemy even noticing. Usually this means you play dead somewhere or you're in hiding and you wait for the enemy to plant the bomb. And then right when they do that, you sneak up and lay right next to it, so the second they are done planting it, you can immediately start to defuse it without them ever knowing. And if you can successfully defuse it, then congratulations, you earned a ninja badge. I'm proud of you, good job, you did it. Shepherd Scarecrow on Fog. This is taking us back to Call of Duty Ghost, mainly for the DLC map Fog. And apparently on that map, outside of spawn, you can see a scarecrow that is dressed up like General Shepherd. Now I'm not sure how true this is, I couldn't really find any good quality footage of this, but some people seem to believe that this is General Shepard, or at least a reference to him. And I would go on the game to check, but I'm not rebuying the game on PC for $60 and then buying DLC for it. I refuse to give Activision any more money. So if you do have the game and the DLC, go on the map and check it out for yourself. Tell me what you think. World at War Blow-Up Doll. This is talking about the blow-up doll Victoria that you can find in World at War. Or at least that's the name that the community gave to her. And just looking at this thing at face value, it definitely looks like a blow-up doll. Usually only seen in modded lobbies or custom zombie maps, this is not actually a blow-up doll, believe it or not. It is the default actor, and it's a placeholder model used for when a character's specific model isn't loaded or assigned. Now, why they made it look like this, your guess is as good as mine. But funny enough, in World at War, this is the only female model. And I gotta admit, it totally looks like a sex doll. Red Dot Microtransaction. Call of Duty is notorious for their microtransactions, but none probably got the community or even the world up in arms as much as a red dot. Yes, in Black Ops 4, they tried to charge you 100 COD points for a simple red dot, something that was free in previous games that you just unlock very easily. But for some reason, I guess in Black Ops 4, this red dot was special. This one is like a donut. It's not a singular dot. It has a hole in the middle, so therefore you need to buy it. And I mean, this must have spent days for it to be created for it to cost 100 COD points. And if you're wondering how much in real money that would cost you, well, I believe back in Black Ops 4, you could only purchase 200, 500, a little over 1,000, 2,400, 5,000, and 1,300 COD points each. So the lowest you could purchase was 200, which cost you $199. Nice one, Activision. Money in the Dank. This was a game mode back in Modern Warfare 3. That was pretty fun. The rules were simple, 10-minute time limit with sabotage rules. But once you pick up the bomb, you become a juggernaut. And you keep being a juggernaut until you plant the bomb or you die. So you could imagine how this would take regular sabotage and twist it up a notch. And I remember just loving this game mode because I never wanted to be the juggernaut, because that's stupid. That's who everyone wants to shoot. You want to get near them and kill the enemies that are trying to kill your juggernaut. That way you can get way more kills. All my team wanted to grab the bomb and get the big suit. I didn't want to do that. I was smarter than that. RCXD Tunnels, Black Ops 1. This one is another throwback. If you never really used the RCXD killstreak in Black Ops 1, you might not know about this. But on multiple maps, there were secret tunnels that you can only take with an RCXD car that were pretty useful if you needed to get to the enemy without someone shooting you beforehand. These are on a couple maps, such as Grid, Nuketown, and Hanoi. And the one on Nuketown, in my opinion, was my personal favorite because you were always guaranteed to get a kill, especially if you were playing domination. You could easily get across the map and get a kill. Banned in Japan. I believe this is talking about Call of Duty World at War, which was supposedly banned in Japan, but they very quickly realized their mistake and quickly unbanned it. Now, I really couldn't find too much proof to back up any of these claims, whether it was actually banned in Japan, or whether it was banned and then they lifted it. All I could find was a couple websites saying as much, but no real evidence to back any of this up. But as far as I know, you could play World at War in Japan. But one thing they did do was tone down a lot of violence in Call of Duty Black Ops 1, but that was only on the localization level. If you changed the locale from Japanese to English, you would get the normal game. But if it was in Japanese, you would get the heavily edited one. Black Ops 4 campaign footage. Black Ops 4 was originally going to have a campaign. Well, even before that, it was going to have a career mode, which would have taken the spot of your more traditional campaign, and would have had a 2 versus 2 multiplayer mechanic, where opposing factions fought to complete objectives while fighting against AI. But that ended up getting cut, and they tried to rework that into a more traditional campaign. And then again, they decided to cut that in favor of Blackout, which was the predecessor to Warzone. And some footage from the Black Ops 4 campaign can still be found out there, and that's what you're watching right now. Skid Row COD 2 newspaper. In the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer map Skid Row, you can find a newspaper box that seems to have some articles talking about Call of Duty 2. And that's not the only thing you can find that's interesting on this map. If you head inside and look at these bookshelves, you can find a bunch of interesting books, most notably The Wizard of Oz and The Adventure of Oliver Twist. And around some of these stores on the map, you can find a Game Station 5, which has pictures of Call of Duty 4 on it. And even in these store windows, you can find the hardened edition of Modern Warfare 2. And right next to that, you can see the Infinity Ward logo with the title, Where Does Infinity Ward Go From Here? It's the little Easter eggs like this that they put in maps that I just love. Shepard's Skull in Modern Warfare 3 Rust. In the Modern Warfare 3's version of Rust, over here laying on the ground, you can find a skull with a knife directed right inside of its eye. And if you never played Modern Warfare 2, well, this is a reference to Shepard and the way he died. Call of Duty on the Wii. Believe it or not, there have been a ton of Call of Duties to come out on the Wii, mainly Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty World at War, COD 4, Black Ops 1, and Modern Warfare 3. And it seems like the community all kind of agrees that the Call of Duty Black Ops version is the best. And it's totally not because it has zombies, and that Kino map is really fun, and you can get the AUG off the wall, which you can't do in the other versions of Kino, so that's pretty cool. And I've played a lot of Call of Duty on the Wii, and I do have to say, at first, you're going to feel like a complete idiot because it is kind of hard to get into, but once you do get into it, it is very fun. COD Tracker. COD Tracker was a very popular third-party website that provided detailed statistics and leaderboards for a lot of different Call of Duty games, and it really helps players with insights into how they were performing, helped to track weapon and map usage, and even allowed you to compare your stats with others. Now, COD Tracker today still does work, but Activision decided to close rank and made it more difficult to track players and their profiles. And it seems like they really wanted to close things down so that way people couldn't check other stats. And the theory around this was, one, so you can't see how many hackers and cheaters are actually in the game, and two, it would expose the whole pay-to-win theory. And I've seen a lot of other theories around this, but in my opinion, those two seem to be the biggest. Peter Griffin trolling Black Ops 2. Prior to the days of AI being able to create whatever you want, if you wanted to troll people as Peter Griffin, you had to be pretty good at doing the voice. And this is exactly what a lot of people did back in the Black Ops 2 days. Well, not necessarily just the Black Ops 2 days, but the days of Call of Duty funny moments. You can find endless videos on YouTube of people pretending to be Peter Griffin and just trolling everybody else in their lobby.
How do you like me now, bitch?
You go please let us out, Peter.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Hey, it's Peter Griffin. How you doing?
My God, you're so funny. You can use a soundboard to sound like Peter Griffin.
Oh, limited XG. You think I'm using a soundboard, dick?
FU Last Stand. Last Stand or Final Stand was a perk or a death streak, depending on which game you're playing, that stopped you from dying. Essentially, if you would get killed, instead of dying, you would go prone, basically be a one-shot, but you get to whip out a pistol. This was especially infuriating in Modern Warfare 2 because it was a death streak, which meant it didn't take the place of an actual perk. And Last Stand / Final Stand made the community go crazy. Everybody hated it. Even if you were using it and it saved your life and you got a kill, when it was used against you, you automatically hated it again. But the whole FU Last Stand actually comes from Robert Bowling, who was at the time Infinity Ward's community manager. And when talking about Modern Warfare 3, he said this.
It means no one-man army, no game-ending nuke, no shotguns as secondaries, definitely no commando perk. No Last Stand. Fuck you, Last Stand.
ASM1 music video. This is a 10-year-old music video from Merc Music all about the ASM1. And I never played much Advanced Warfare, but from everything that I could see, it seems like the ASM1 was one of the overpowered weapons of its day. Hence this music video.
We had glitch with our favorite SMG, ASM1. ASM1! When I am bored, I jerk off to a picture of it!
It's my one true love.
ASM1.
On top of High Rise. In the original Modern Warfare 2, in the map High Rise, there was a way to get to the top of it. By coming over here onto the map and jumping over here, if you can manage to actually hang on and not fall off like I did a million times, you can climb your way all the way to the tippy top of the map. And being up here, if you had attack insert, could be very beneficial depending on what game mode you are playing. And the newer Modern Warfares that have High Rise have leaned into this and added more ways to get to the top, and that is actually really cool, but it still doesn't beat the original. I mean, let's be honest here. Who's all playing Michael Myers on High Rise, and your first instinct is to immediately get on top of the map because you know the guy that's Michael Myers can't make that jump to save his life. And this wasn't really the only secret little hiding place around this map. High Rise actually had a lot of cool places to go to, especially if you're playing other fan-made game modes like Michael Myers or something. So any kind of shenanigans you were trying to get into, this map was one of the best ones to do it. Silent Shot. Silent Shot is a trick shot that can be done in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and 3. I also believe it can be done in the revamped version as well, and also in Black Ops 1. And really what this is just a cool way to get a final kill. Just think of it as bragging rights. To do a silent shot, all you need to do is shoot your weapon, and straight after you want to bring out your throwing knife or tomahawk. This will tilt your screen and make your shot silent in the kill cam. And really, unless you're into trick shotting, there was never a reason to do this because I was definitely not good enough to do this. IRL COD murders. Unfortunately, there have been a couple crimes related to Call of Duty. The first one involves swatting, where one gamer and another got into a beef over Call of Duty. And one of the guys was such a big loser, he asked this idiot to swat the other guy he was having an argument with, but the address that he had was completely wrong. So when he called in the fake threat, the police arrived at some poor innocent man's house. So when police arrived at his home, he stepped outside to see what was going on, not knowing about anything that was going on. And the police claimed that he failed to comply with an order to keep his hands up, leading to one of the officers shooting him and ending his life. The man that did the fake swatting threat ended up pleading guilty and getting sent to prison, and had to help with the funeral costs and had to be supervised for 5 years after his release from prison. The next one commonly gets associated with Call of Duty, but it's actually about Halo 3. Back in 2007, this loser that ended up committing the crime ended up getting an infection from a skiing injury, and ended up being housebound for a year. He ended up getting introduced to the Halo games from his friend, and developed an addiction, where he would end up playing 7 or 8 hours a day. His father did not approve of all this video game violence that he was getting exposed to, and after this loser expressed the desire to buy these Halo games, his father ordered him to stop playing the games or leave the house. So this loser ended up moving in with his friend for the weekend, playing the game with his friend for up to 18 hours a day. And he ended up secretly buying a copy of Halo 3 without his father's permission. After finding him, his father brought him back to the house and confiscated his copy of Halo 3 and placed it in a safe along with his 9mm pistol. On October 20th, 2007, 1 week after the game was confiscated, this loser found his father's key to unlock the safe and stole both the game and the gun. Around 7 p.m., he walked up behind his parents while they were sitting on the couch and said, "Would you close your eyes? I have a surprise for you." And he then proceeded to shoot both of them. His mother died from her gunshot wounds, but his father survived, saying that his head went numb and he saw blood pouring down from his skull. After this loser shot both of his parents, he placed the gun in his father's hands to make it look like a murder-suicide, saying to him, "Hey dad, here's your gun, take it." But thankfully, luck was not on this man's side. A few minutes later, his sister and her husband would arrive at the house. Before they could enter the house, this loser told them not to come in. He lied that his parents were fighting, but upon hearing groaning, they forced their way inside only to discover the aftermath, soon after calling the police. And this idiot would try to escape in the family van, trying to get over to his friend's house, but was arrested on the way there. He would eventually get convicted for aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, and tampering with evidence. The judge ended up sending him to life in prison with a possibility of parole after 23 years. And like I said, this isn't about Call of Duty, but it often gets associated with Call of Duty. Another case has to deal with Call of Duty Mobile, when a 19-year-old Brazilian player was murdered by another player. A girl named Sylvia, whose online name was Soul, was just 19 at the time and was killed by another player who goes by Flashlight. Flashlight ended up stabbing her multiple times and allegedly uploaded the gruesome images onto social media. And when police later arrived and asked him why he did this, he simply said, "Because I wanted to," and later said that, "I know the seriousness of the situation." Now we are all pretty depressed, so let's get a more lighthearted story. This last story involves a 46-year-old Englishman who, after facing repeated taunts and name-calling and defeat in Call of Duty at the hands of a 13-year-old, he decided to go to his house and beat him up. No, I'm not joking. He went over to his house and choked him out. And he only stopped when the boy's mother was able to pull him off. And after that, he silently got up and left the house. And the only thing he had to tell the courts was, "I've been playing the whole day and he was baiting me and just would not shut up." He went on and I just lost it. I hold my hands up, I lost the plot, and in a moment of madness, I went round to his house. I didn't know what I was going to do. It wasn't malice, I just grabbed him. I've seen him since and apologized. We've played online too. He's actually a decent kid. And just the balls of him to say, "Yeah, this kid's actually pretty cool," after you went to his house and choked him out. That's pretty funny. Camping song. This is nostalgia at its finest. This is talking about the campy song from Try Hard Ninja that was all about camping in Black Ops 1. Now I couldn't find the original upload. I'm not sure if it even still is a thing, but I found plenty of re-uploads, and I can't play you guys the full thing because obviously, you know, content ID. But if you want to watch the full thing, just type in campy song Try Hard Ninja, you'll find a bunch of re-uploads. It is a parody of the Lazy song, all about camping in Call of Duty.
And yes, I said it, I'm camping, campity, camp, camp.
Jester Warfare. This was a game mode featured in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare that allowed players to kill others with not guns, but gestures. And there was a pretty decent amount of them. You had Head Crush, Bang Bang, Boom, You're Dead, Crush, Jackal Toy, RC8 Toy, Light It Up, Flick, Be Gone, and No You Didn't. And honestly, this seemed like a pretty fun game mode. I didn't play much of Infinite Warfare, but this game mode seems really fun. Japanese, no Russian. So this could be talking about two different things. Number one, the mistranslation. So as you guys know, in no Russian, he says this.
S nami Bog. Remember, no Russian.
But when they translated it for Japan, they mistranslated it and it says instead, "Kill them, they are Russians."
S nami Bog.
And I can kind of see how they mistranslated that. I can speak a decent amount of Japanese, and I could see how they take the word no Russian to meaning that, hey, no Russians, kill them all. The other thing that this could be talking about is that in the Japanese and German versions of the game, if you kill a civilian, the game automatically restarts from the last checkpoint with a message saying you killed a civilian. And what's even funnier is that in the Russian version of the game by 1C Company, the mission itself is just not even available to play. Highway of Death controversy. This is talking about Modern Warfare 2019, in which there was a big debacle around the Highway of Death incident. In a game, it attributes the attack on the retreating Iraqi convoy to Russian forces instead of us. The real Highway of Death refers to a 6-lane highway between Kuwait and Iraq, where US and allied forces bombed a large convoy of retreating Iraqi vehicles in 1991, with an estimate between 500 to 1,000 Iraqis killed. And in the game, it wasn't us, it was the Russians that did it. And of course, a lot of people, even Russian media, were kind of upset about this, trying to portray Russia as the bad guys to something that we totally did. That's like rewriting history, and I'm not a fan of that. Fish AI. Leading up to Call of Duty Ghost, one of the things that they felt the need to brag about was their insanely next-gen fish AI. And I know that sounds incredibly dumb, but they were very serious, and that spawned countless memes.
And also added an AI system to it, so we have fish move out of the way when you get close to them.
Sound whoring. Sound whoring is kind of exactly what you would think it is. It's when you use the sound around you to help you do better in the game. And a lot of people nowadays might say, Yeah, well, duh, everyone does that. What's so special about it? Why does it get a cool name like sound whoring? Well, back in the earlier days of COD, before everybody had a very nice headset that could give you some pretty good audio, a lot of people just used their TV sound. And that was not as good as the people that had a headset. If you had a headset, you could hear the enemy's footsteps from a pretty far distance away. Especially when you consider the fact that modern CODs have more ambient sound compared to the older Call of Duties. So the people with good headsets had a huge advantage. They would be able to know where enemies are just by listening for their footsteps. Thus the term sound whoring was born. And Call of Duty did put an effort to try to stop this. Well, not really stop it, but try to help people fight against it, with perks that would make your footsteps silent. Nowadays, this isn't really much of a problem because literally everybody has headsets, there's lots of noise going on. You can still do it, but it's not as prevalent as it was in the earlier Call of Duties. Rust in real life. You can surprisingly find Rust in a lot of different places in the world. Every now and then you'll see someone post a real life version of Rust, and it's just always some silo out in the desert. Well, a user on Reddit, in my opinion, got the closest. 6 years ago he posted this picture, and it was out in Saudi Arabia. And I gotta admit, this one looks pretty close to the real thing. And because I like you guys, I'm gonna give you a bonus one. There is also a real life Nuketown. Up I believe near Chicago, there is a paintball place called Paintball Explosion that has an accurate recreation of Nuketown that you can go and play paintball at. And this is some place that I've been wanting to go for a very long time. Maybe one day we can host an event and have an entire group go out there and play some Nuketown. One day. MW2 Bathroom Controversy. Yet again, we're back with Modern Warfare 2 and another controversy. This one involved the map Favela. In that map, on one of the second floors, you can find a picture frame in the bathroom. And on that frame, there is a quote from the Prophet Muhammad. And apparently that is culturally insensitive, as having that text in such an area is deemed disrespectful. And after a bunch of complaints from Muslim people, Activision quickly responded by removing Favela from the map rotation. And after they removed the image, they reinstated the map. And this whole thing was stupid. I remember one of my best friends growing up was Muslim, and I asked him about it, and he said he honestly doesn't care. But then he asked his father about it, and his father was very upset. So it just goes to show you, boomers gotta ruin everything. No penalty for shooting Reznov. One interesting little fact about Black Ops 1 that kinda gave you a hint early on about who Reznov really was is that unless you're in the level Vodkura, there is no penalty for shooting Reznov. You can get hit with a friendly fire penalty for shooting your allies, but that doesn't happen with Reznov, which was an early indicator that he was just a hallucination. And a bonus fact on top of that, at the beginning of each level, you hear these codes. And people that are way smarter than me took all of those codes and were able to get a message out of it. And the message said that Reznov is dead. Or is he dead? There was no body. Is he who he says he is?
You can make it, my friend. You always survive.
Black Ops 1 Virtual Therapist. Who needs therapy when you have a 15-year-old Call of Duty game? Accessing the terminal in the main menu, you can activate the computer AI known as Alicia, who is your virtual therapist. Typing to her, you will get a variety of responses. None of them are helpful whatsoever, but at least she's trying. And this is actually a real-life reference to Eliza, who was an early natural language processing computer program developed from 1964 to 1967, and was created to explore communications between humans and machines. Eliza simulated conversations by using a pattern matching and substitution method that gave users an illusion of understanding on part of the program. So essentially, Eliza was a very early form of ChatGPT. And if you think people simping for ChatGPT are sad now, you wouldn't be surprised to learn that people were also doing it back in the 1960s. So that is going to be the end of this video. Did any of this spark some nostalgia for you guys? And I'm very curious to know down below in the comments, what was your guys' first Call of Duty? I didn't jump in until World at War, so I never really got to experience COD 4 in its heyday. So let me know what was your guys' first Call of Duty. And that's all I got for you guys. Have a great day, and leave.